How I'm living in here, there's nothing in the freezer, don't worry about that. And then I got my desk. This is where I get all the work done. You know, this is where I do business deals, but I gotta keep myself grounded. So I got my skateboard here. Remind me of the days when I used to shred, baby. Hell yeah. And I'm just moving in, so please excuse the mess. You know, I got some boxes here. Check out that shoe collection. Boom, I got everything in here. And yeah, that's about it. You know, it's a work in progress, but I didn't pay for this, so it's a win for me, you know? But, you know, last but not least, I gotta show you guys where the magic happens. Hell yeah. What you think, ladies? This thing's big enough for the two of us. All right, well, that's it for today. It's time for y'all to go, because I got some stuff to do. I got some reading to catch up on, and I'll see y'all next time.
What's the obsession with
Stinger.
everyone's fridge? That's the big thing now.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is what's in my fridge.
I don't know.
Okay, so I care that John Cena has vitamin water? What?
Yeah, I never understood. There's like, I didn't show the pool, by the way, but there is a pool.
Yeah.
And I got some nice cars out front. But
Well, it's a roof drip, actually.
Yeah.
So much. By the way, let's put a note in Toolman. We have to call a plumber.
And the squatting's ridiculous, dude. This is the reason why I sold my house instead of renting. We wanted to rent it out and try to keep this house. Like I was telling Tim earlier, it's like generational wealth. I wanted to build some generational wealth for my kids.
Sure.
Maybe own a property for years, pay it off, and then I have either a home to give them or some kind of nice little nest egg of a money. But they put this new law into Tacoma, Washington last year into place where from the months of, I might be getting this wrong, but from the months of October through April or May, you cannot be evicted from your house under a few different circumstances. One, if you work at a school. Two, if you have kids in a school. And three, because it's the wintertime.
Well, that last one is pretty broad. It seems like it applies to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, if you work in education, but I can't control the seasons.
Well, yeah, but so I don't understand why they put the coldness in there, but yeah, they said you can't be evicted if you don't pay your rent. So like, somebody could basically move in October,
Right?
not pay rent until May, and the homeowner's just fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, for lack of better words, like you just go.
In November.
And these people don't care. Yeah, and these people don't care about their credit score. You know, they don't care about their rent history.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you can't be discriminated against because of your rent history.
I love that they add winter. It's like, well, then don't add any other of the prerequisites.
I might be misquoting that. Someone in the chat's going to correct me. I know, but
you can't evict anybody. Yeah. Why? Because it's a season. Okay.
I might be a little off on the winter thing, but the school thing is definitely part of it.
What if you can't be within 600 yards of a school?
I don't think that matters.
I don't think. All right.
If you're there, it doesn't matter.
No, exactly. Think about it. This is something that you want. Hey, who does it harm? Harms you saving for your family. It's like
I'm not a mogul. I'm not some tyrant homeowner landlord. It's just some of us own one home.
Yep.
And rent another one in another state and just want to have that investment.
That's plenty of people. Anymore. And by the way, too big to fail. BlackRock Vanguard, they get to buy up an entire district of single unit, family homes, and then they raise the price in rent.
And they lose rent for 5 months. It's no harm to them.
It's no harm to them.
It is no harm done to them. They still control you.
So they get bailed out, and the mom and pop home providers lose their homes to squatters.
Yeah.
Think about that. What kind of a country do you want to be? And let's take a bird's eye view of this a little bit. Not just the squatters' rights, but we also have crime in New York. Of course, we talked about the subway. We talked about squatters. There's been the bail reform. You've heard us talk about that. Some people have called it cash bail, no cash bail. In New York now, 2/3 of those who were freed under the bail reform, this just came out, this is New York Post, they reoffend.
Oh, what?
So half were arrested for new felonies, and 327 people were responsible for 1/3 of the shoplifting arrests in the city. 327 people were responsible for 1/3 of all the shoplifting arrests. You can go and crunch those numbers. That means it was not just repeat. It was repeat. It was like the elf revolving door of shoplifting.
Yeah. We should invent like some kind of system that keeps these people in check and holds them accountable for their actions.
Yeah.
Maybe puts them somewhere where they can't be doing that anymore if they do these things.
Oh, like a law.
Oh,
like now I'm a law.
Jail or something, yeah. Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Recidivism and letting them out late.
Squatting in your house and never leaving.
I used to be a squatter. Now I'm a homeowner. Oh, yeah. I hope somebody turns the power back on or I may die. All right. It's just ridiculous. This is at a certain point, the plane with the fat lady, the fact that there are laws where you can't misgender somebody, and that's just a law designed to be it's a field of landmines, and they're adding to it because you can't possibly get it right. You can't defend yourself on the subway unless you have the right shade of skin. You can't actually enforce the laws and take ownership of your own property that you have paid for because there's a squatter there. Oh, hold on a second. You are now a shopkeeper. It doesn't matter. You can't stop these people depending on the city if they're stealing from you and if it's under $999. Also, 1/3 of all the shoplifting arrests are 327 people. Well, guess what? We're going to let them back out, and they're not going to need the cash for bail. Think about it. These people don't need cash to simply be released. You need cash to pay the property taxes in a home that is being occupied by a squatter. You do not live in a free country or city because there are some laws. Are they applied equally? These laws are designed to displace you. It's not the great replacement theory. It's the great displacement movement that is happening right now. They are displacing you, the American taxpayer, the homeowner, the person seeking the American dream, and they are displacing you with criminals systematically. 7.5 million at least nationwide in New York City. Thousands of people, squatters, criminals, no accountability on one side, only for you. It's a system. When people talk about the travesty of our justice, it's not black or white. In certain areas in this country, it disproportionately is advantageous to people who seek to destroy the system. Oh, and by the way, there's also a movement from the left for violent felons to vote.
There's deep consequences to this too. Things that you can go on for hours probably thinking of the little consequences that we don't generally think about. But stuff like you can be mugged by somebody in front of your house, hit and mugged, call the police, you get arrested, and guess what? They're back.
Yes.
Yep.
And now you're terrified because you're facing the consequences of calling the police on them.
Right. Yep. And now they're back and they're in your house and you can't get rid of them.
Yeah. You're a store owner. It's like, store owners used to, or in some places do still fear like mob control.
Right.
They have to fear that from these. I mean, to be fair, not all of them, but a lot of these people are members of gangs,
right,
or members of groups, little community. They get together, they have little communities.
Sure.
And they take care of each other. They walk each other's backs. So some lady calls the cops because you're stealing a bunch of stuff out of the bodega.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, him and his friends are going to show up, and they're going to steal everything. They might not beat you up, they might not hit you, but they're going to steal everything from you. And what are you going to do? Call the cops again?
No, I'm calling a rooftop Korean.
Oh, okay.
Bring him back. Bring back the rooftop Koreans. They didn't have a chip in their brain. Remember that during the Los Angeles riots? They didn't have a chip in their brain for just giving up their property. No, mine. I pay. I shoot. You steal, I shoot. No, you can't do that. But no. They're criminal. I own. I shoot. No. You're not allowed to do that. I get on roof. Better vantage point. And because there's that language barrier, the cops just said, fine.
Different time, man.
Yeah.
Different time.
But no, if you don't remember this, the Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, right, is a Soros-funded bureaucrat. $1 million from Soros's Color of Change PAC. So this is not some crazy conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat. Hey, $1 million, I don't know if you know this, makes a big difference. Makes a big difference as it relates to being a DA. That's a huge sum of cash. And if you look at Soros, at large, he's funded DAs all over the country. 75 cities, over $40 million have been donated. The goal is to try and export New York City, their culture, which is not American culture, to the rest of the country. And this is why at least half of New Yorkers want to leave New York City. So when people
and
say,
the other half are rats.
Yes.
So.
They're very large, so when they do the head count, they do it in the dark. That's how Kevin McAllister got lost.
Is it?
Yeah. His parents were in Florida, and he was in New York.
My parents are in Florida?
Yeah.
I'm in New York. I can't do the eyebrow thing.
It's like, oh yeah, you forgot the horrors from last year.
He wouldn't get through the second sentence before getting kidnapped.
Yeah, I know. My parents are in Florida, and I'm...
And you are now not in New York, probably.
The Home Alone sequel. It's like, he's like, I'm praying for my mom back. He gets a miracle, and then he forgets immediately. Where he's like, yeah, this is a good idea. I'm going to go out into New York City by myself. Yeah. Forget about last year where I almost had my fingers bitten off by a hardened criminal. I'm happy to find myself in these boots again. So half of New Yorkers, greatest city in the world. Well, half of New Yorkers don't think so. Half of New Yorkers don't want to live there. And I can't imagine why.
New York, concrete shit, full of streets.
These creeps will camp in your bedroom. There's nothing you can do. Get the hell out of New York, New York, New York.
That's all Jay-Z does. That boy good. That boy good. Fine. $1 billion.
That's all he has to do now.
$1 billion. $1 billion to the former drug dealer who lives next to De Niro.
Killed his mistress.
This is just allegedly.
You don't know about that? Oh.
Allegedly. So we're covered.
Well, maybe Beyonce did it. Who knows?
And you can, if you live in New York City, comment below. We'd love to. We have a big sample size here of you watching and listening. So let us know how it's changed. We have people who live here who actually will try and avoid going back to see family just because of how bad it is. And this is where we get to the point, you know what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on. At least half of New Yorkers know it to the degree that they want to leave. And so what does the media do? What does the media do? They're in cahoots, they're a posse with the DA, with Soros, with the Viewpoint, this ism, with the government of New York. Well, instead they try and tell you, don't believe your lying eyes and ears, you're crazy, crime is down.
New data from the FBI that shows dramatically declining crime rates across the U.S. Still, though, a majority of Americans believe crime is getting worse, even though this new information paints a different picture.
Crime rates are actually dropping, and in a big way.
Crime rates are actually declining, and in a big way.
Crime rates are actually declining.
Crime rates across the United States are dropping significantly.
It's like they have the same
Crime
script.
has gone down.
Yep,
quite
they got that
considerably.
talking point.
It's like they have the same. And by the way, this is happening for two reasons, okay? All references are available at loudwithcrowder.com. One, if you have a crazy, unprecedented spike in crime for, let's say, 1, 2, 3 years, and then it goes down slightly, well, that's technically a decrease. Right? So if it goes up by 1,000% and then goes down by 50%, that's a decrease. So that really depends on the timeline. You see this a lot. For example, they've tried to do this with Donald Trump and some of the prosecution, where rather than going, with quarterly statements, they try and go year to year where it doesn't take into account certain contracts. This happens a lot, by the way. They try and pick the start point and end point. That's where you can see data being manipulated. It's not that data isn't valuable. It's not that statistics have no redeeming qualities. Of course they do, but they can be manipulated that way. So number one, they try and mess with the timelines, okay? Number two, the FBI in 2021 started accepting, after huge spikes in crime, of course, they started accepting data from only one source, the National Incident-Based Reporting System, NIBRS, which is almost like at that point, just say the whole thing. It's not that much shorter. Now, in 2022, almost 1/3 of all law enforcement agencies did not report any data to the NIBRS. So think about that for a second. So New York City says this is the only system that we're using. And then you look at law enforcement agencies saying, yeah, but we don't report the crime there. Now they tell you, you're crazy. What, you think crime is up in New York because you're experiencing it? No. According to this sole reference point that we know is not being used by the people who would actually be on the ground reporting the data, you're wrong. You're crazy. What, are you just voting? Are you just opposed to the mayor or the DA because you're racist? That's what they do. If they simply tell you that what you are experiencing, what you see, what is true,